I'm Chelsea, and I'm with Ugly Art Room, and I'm here with Julia Oldham, and we are about to open the Male Art Challenge for June, which the theme was the smell of good mud.
Oh. It's a wonderful, muddy-footed character.
With a snail
with
shell for
a sort of
head.
ram's horn-looking snail shell head. I love the sort of size and feel of this. It's very satisfying. It's just right to touch and hold. Would you like to?
Oh, I would love to. Oh, wow.
I love those muddy feet.
I do too. And the position of the hands.
And this tunic that the person is wearing is kind of wonderfully falling back into the landscape. This character reminds me of the wild woman that I was thinking about when I talked about the theme of this like person who's primordially connected to nature and just coming up out of it and part of it. I think this is sort of a perfect.
It's really beautiful.
Well, we've got here a piece from a Molly Geissman from Albuquerque. Ooh. This is a wonderfully mud-smelling mixed media piece. There are a lot of very physical layers here. Like these sort of dribbling parts are cutouts of what almost looks like, well, it's like a sort of crackling dried mud. But I'm also noticing there's little feet.
Little scratched in.
I wonder whether there may be footprints through a muddy place. Not only is it an incredibly physical piece, but it seems to be about a very physical interaction with mud and earth. This area here, that's sort of a few different translucent layers, goes more toward kind of grayish, bluish cream, and makes me think of kind of a lake surface falling away behind all of this dribbliness. It's almost like we're...
Yeah, there's such a nice variety of textures and different marks, and where you see kind of working additively, adding layers, but also subtracting and carving out.
I saw a really large foot up there that I think probably is a Sasquatch.
Oh, Sasquatch. Oh, this one's from Wilsonville, Oregon.
A very delicate drawn piece. This looks like a marker that's dying, but this immediately reminds me of that plant that opens up in the summer and smells like rotting meat. The corpse plant?
The form reminded me of some kind of a plant thing, but also like looking into a microscope or something and seeing a organism. The title is Muddy Odors.
Muddy Odors, yeah.
Thinking of this as thinking of a muddy odor, something you're smelling, thinking of this as a little, like, atom.
Like vapors?
That's a vapor that this is going to go up your nose and enter into your membranes in your nose and interact up there.
Odiferous, gaseous plume. I see a face.
I do too.
I feel like this face is probably doing some smelling. I can feel it because there's this sort of cross-hatching marking in front of the face that's almost like a screen. On the top here, it's very opalescent and this sort of sea green. And on the bottom, we don't really have that glossy opalescent quality, but instead a more matte treatment and a more kind of chartreuse springy color.
Yeah, it's a great color.
The face, this sort of lower part of the face seems almost like it could be like covered in mud.
The figure kind of has sort of a primitive kind of mask feel to it. It kind of feels to me like looking through brush.
There's something about this face that isn't entirely human. I mean, it sort of is, but it's just off enough that it could be something mythical. It's a little Sasquatchy. So this next piece came in as a postcard. A lot of the shapes in this make me think of little mushrooms. Little bulby fungusy guys. And then in the center there's this kind of mushing together of all of the colors and materials. everything is very brown and green and sort of brick red, all colors that you could imagine kind of digging out of the ground.
Yeah. This is so, like, primordial sludge goo, and everything kind of radiates out of that, and it becomes much more refined towards those edges. But this part also makes me think of making, like, mud pies when you're a kid.
Yeah. This piece is from Tera Stenzel in Portland.
Oh,
this is amazing. Another one of these little
so
pieces that feels so good in your hand. She's all covered with mud, and
she's so expressive.
She's wonderful. She's kind of a crone figure from a fairy tale. Like, maybe the kind of crone figure that would either kidnap and eat children, or the ones that suddenly will help out the beleaguered main character. She is definitely very intensely gazing, and she looks right at you, for sure. She's got a sort of long neck protruding, like she's leaning way forward. Kind of like
the way a snail comes out of its shell.
Or a turtle. Really leaning forward. And so it gives her a kind of animal quality, too. It's funny how kind of abstract her mouth is, but at the same time, it's so perfect. This creating this really kind of deep wrinkled frown. And she's got this little bit of sort of feminine fabric wrapped around her neck, but it's also filthy.
Thank you so much, Julia, and thank you to all the artists who submitted work. It's such a great variety of work and really thoughtfully made, and it's so fun to see so many different things come from some other places.
I loved all of it so much because of that wonderful, mysterious physical quality. Every single piece had a sort of physicality that I felt like I could really go into. I loved it. So thanks so much for inviting me to curate this, and it was really great seeing everybody's work.